Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover a very interesting topic, and our today's topic is building a full stack web app with React.js, Python and MySQL. It's a complete tutorial which will help us to create a full stack application with React.js as a front end, Python as a backend and MySQL as a database. So these are some prerequisites we need to install and be ready with to create this full stack application. As an editor, we are going to use Visual Studio Code, and these are some front-end technologies we are going to use like React.js. We are going to use version 18.3.1, and these are the libraries we are going to install on the front-end side, like React Table and Axios libraries we are going to use, and on the backend side we are going to use Python. And these are some frameworks like Django and Django REST framework we are going to use to create a development web application in Python. And as a database, we are going to use MySQL. To create a database on the MySQL side, we can either use PHP or MySQL Workbench. Either will do fine. This is about all the prerequisites we need to be ready with to create this full stack application. So these are some points which we are going to cover in sequence. Like first, we will see our architecture diagram. Next, I will show you the small user interface demo. Next, we are going to create a database using MySQL. And next point, we are going to create our backend application using Python. And these are some points which we are going to cover in sequence to create the backend application. Like first, we will create a backend application using Python Django framework. Next, we will configure the database, MySQL database in Python application. In the settings file, we can configure this MySQL database related stuff. Next, we are going to implement the CRUD operations in backend application, and for that we are going to create a model, serializer views, and we are going to configure the URLs and run our application and test our application using Django REST framework user interface. So these are the points which we are going to implement in sequence for backend application. Next, we are going to create our front-end application using React.js, and we are going to create a new React.js front-end application using vite. Next, we are going to create a table using React table, and we are going to create some functionalities which will integrate our function front-end API with the back-end APIs. Next, we are going to implement some core functionalities like search filter, searching, sorting, pagination, and finally we will test our application end-to-end functionality through UI browser. So these are steps we are going to implement in a sequence. So this is the architecture diagram, wherein on the front end side we are going to create employee web front end application using React.js, and in that we are going to use React table library. With the help of React table library, we are going to create a table and populate it with the column and data, and we are going to implement the CRUD operations with the help of hooks and functions available in React table library. Apart from that, we are also going to implement some core functionalities like searching, sorting and pagination using this React table library. We are going to use axios library to give a call to our backend API which we have written on the backend side using Python. So to give a call to those REST APIs, we are going to use axios library on the front end side. So this is about front end application. On the backend side, we are going to create employee service backend application using Python, and in that, like, we are going to use Django framework, Django REST framework. These are the frameworks which will help us to create a web application in Python. And with the help of Django REST framework, like we are going to create and build our REST APIs, and we are also going to test it using Django REST framework user interface. So this is about the backend part. On the backend side, on database side, we are going to create a MySQL database, and we are going to use php tool to create this MySQL database, and we are going to use the employee related database on this MySQL side. So this is about the overall architecture we are going to implement. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share. You may forget at the end of the video, so I will request you to please like, subscribe and share. Now I will show you a small demo of how our application will look like. So this is our running application. Now here, this is the header part, and this is the panel, add and edit panel, through which we are going to add employee or edit employee. This is the search filter through which we are going to achieve the search functionality, and this is the table we are going to create using React table library, and these are the headers, and this is the data in that table. Now here, at the bottom of the table, we can see this is the pagination part which we are going to implement. Now let us see functionality one by one. First, we can add one record, like let's say we can add one record, let's say Shaurya, and we can choose the department as in computer, and role we can say manager, and we can add it. Now let us check. Now we can see the one record is added successfully. So this is about addition. We can add as many record as we want with the help of this add button. Now let us see the like edit button. Once we click on edit button, that row will get populated it here. Now instead of this, we can add some, let's say we can add change the name to Vaishali, and instead of IT we can choose the department as in computer, and here we can choose the role as in manager. And you can see once we click on edit button, this label of add button will get changed automatically to update button. Once we click on update button, the record will get changed like we have changed it to Vaishali, so it is updated successfully. So this is about the updation part. Now similar way, if you want to delete any record, like you can simply click on delete button, it will ask for the confirmation. Once you click on OK button, the record will get deleted. Now you can see the last record is deleted. So this is about deletion. This way you can achieve all the operations like add, update and delete. Now let me show the database part, how it will look like into the database. Now we can see we have this many records. Now let me update some record, add some record and show you into the database. Let's say I'm going to use some one more record, like it's a Rubab. Department I can keep chemistry, and role I can use the user, and we can add. Now let me show you on the database side. If I refresh this one, last record Rubab, yes, we can see it is added successfully. Okay, similar way, if we update anything, like instead of Robert we can say it's a John, and we can keep as is an update. Now let us see second last record, it should be show the John. This is the third one. Yes, we can see it is updated successfully with John. So this way you can verify, cross verify the data in database as well. So this is about CRUD operations. Like similar way, we have searching functionality here. We can enter any text, accordingly the data will get filtered out. Like this is for Kiran. Like if you want to collect all the like maths records, it will show maths. Similar way, if you want to see all the managers, all the users, seems good. Now the filter is working fine. So similar way, we are going to implement the sorting functionality as well on the column. So if we click on name, it will sort it on basis of name. Similar way, if you want to sort it on basis of department, it will show, and this is for role. So this is the sorting functionality we are going to implement. And the pagination, you can see we are on the first page. Now we have set the 4 record per page, that's why it is showing 4 records. We can set any the page size as we want. Now we are on the first page, and we can see the previous and first button is disabled because this is we are on the first page. Now this is the page index, and this is the page count. Once we click on next button, it will show the next 4 records, and the page index will get changed. Similar way, if we click on next button, it will keep on showing, and we are on the last page, hence the next and last button is disabled. Okay, so similar way, if we click on previous button, it will take us to the previous page with 4 records. Likewise, it will keep on showing. Now if we click on last button, it will show the last page, and if we click on first button, it will show the first page. So this is about all the CRUD functionalities and searching, sorting, pagination we are going to implement in this video. So I will request you to please do not miss any steps, so that you will replicate similar kind of application. Now let us create our backend application using Python. So we are going to create a Python backend application using the Django framework, and these are some steps which we are going to follow to create our backend application. Now let us open the VS Code instance. Here we have opened one terminal. Now first thing we will do, like first we will create a virtual environment. So we can use this command like python -m virtual environment, and we can give the virtual environment name. We can give this name, you can give any name. This command will create a virtual environment. As you can see in the left pane, it has created one folder wherein we can keep our project specific dependencies. So why we need a virtual environment, what is the global installation and local installation, on that I have created a dedicated video, you can refer that. So only thing, like we can create a project specific dependencies and libraries, and that we can keep into the virtual environment. Now we need to activate it, so let us activate it using command like scripts and activate. Okay, now you can see it has activated, and you can see the virtual environment prompt, that means it is activated. Now next thing, we need to install the dependencies. Now let us install what all dependencies we require. So pip install, we need a Django REST framework and MySQL client. So this Django, it's a framework we can use for Python web development. Django REST framework, it's again a web framework we can use for Python web development, but it will help us to create and build the REST APIs on the backend side. And MySQL client, we need this is a library with which we can connect with the MySQL database. Now if you want to check here inside this lib folder, you will see all these Django and MySQL client, all these libraries installed. Or if you want to cross check, like you can use the pip list command, so that it will show you all the library which is installed. Okay, fine. So if you want to see, check the list of the installed libraries, you can use this command as well. It will show you all the installed libraries. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, let us create our Django project, Python Django project. So we can use Django admin start project, and we can give our project name. So let's say employee service. You can see it has created employee service along with all the files and folders including manage.py. Now next thing what we can do, like we need to go to our employee service project folder first. Next we can create one application inside this. So we can use python manage.py and this command start app, and here we can give our application name. I will keep API as an application name. So we can see here it will create one API folder wherein we are going to keep our REST APIs inside this API folder. Now we have created our project with name employee underscore service, and inside that we have created application with name API. Now next thing what we can do, like let us configure our database part. For that, before we do that, let us create our database, and for that we can use exam control panel, and here we can start the Apache server. We can see the status is running. Now let us start the MySQL. Now we need to click on admin to open the phpMyAdmin. Now we can see it is this is the UI user interface for phpMyAdmin, and these are different databases we have already created. Now to create a new database, we can simply click on this new button, and here we can give our database name. Let's say EMP. Let us take EMP master, and we can create this database. Okay, fine. We have created one database with name EMP master successfully. Now let us close this, and we can go back to our terminal at here. Now we do not need to create a database because that will get created. We can create on basis of model, it will get created whenever we migrate, execute the migrate command. Fine. Now next thing, we can configure the database part at here. First of all, in the settings.py inside the project folder, first of all we need to add the dependencies, like we have installed the REST framework and we have one application we need to include, which is the API. And here we need to, by default it is using SQLite database. Now we need to give the engine name for ours, like we need to change it to MySQL, and we can give name like we have given name like it's a EMP a master, so database name. Next thing, like we can use user, and we can give the user which we have created at the time of installation, or if you have created any custom user, you can give that username. Password we need to enter. Now the password is blank. Next thing, like we can use host name, and for host name we are going to use localhost, and for port name we can use our port, which is 3307 in our case. Host, which is the local host, this is the port. Here we need to give the comma. Seems good. Now if you want to cross check this, like this is the employee master, let us open this one. So as we have seen, like we have just created the employee master database, and if you check, like here we can see 3307 is a port we are using, and same we have configured it here, and we need to give the username and password, and this is our host name. Seems good. Now we can save it. We have configured our database part. Next thing, we can create our model. So here we can create our model. For that we can give the model name, like it's employee, and we can use models dot model. Next we can give the properties, like for employee we have like models dot char fields, and here we can use max length, let's say 100 for now. You can take length as per your requirement. Next we can take we can say department, and here we can add a role, and for the string interpretation we can use this one str, and here we can return self.name, and we can save it. So we have created the model successfully, and this is the models we have imported from the Django. We can save it. Next thing, like we need to create one serializer, so let us do that. Serializers.py. So why we need to create a serializer? Because we need to convert the model instance into the JSON part. For that reason we need to create a serializer. Now we need to import from REST framework, and we are going to import serializers. So next we are going to import from model which we have just created, and our model name is employee. Next we can create our class let's say employee serializer, and we can use serializers dot model serializer we can take. Next thing, like we can use class meta, and after that we can use model, and in our case model is employee. Next thing, we need to mention what all fields we are going to serialize. For now we are going to serialize all fields, and we can save it. So we have created successfully the serializers as well, which is employee serializer, and it is going to serialize all fields of this employee model. Seems good. Now let us run the migration command first, so that it will create the respective database schema related stuff. So we can use command python manage.py, and we can use this command make migrations. Fine, it has created employee model. Now to actually convert this to database schema, we can use this migrate command. These are two commands we need to execute to successfully migrate it to the database. Seems good. Now we can see it has migrated successfully. Now if we check on the database side, like we have, this is our database, we can refresh it, and here for employee master, if we check, it has created all the respective tables as such, and this is our employee table. And if you expand it, it has columns which we have mentioned, like it's a department ID, name and role. Seems good, it has created. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, we need to create a views. So for that we need to add, first we can use Django, we can import from REST framework, and it's a view sets we need to import. Next thing, like we need to add models, and we need to import our employee model. Next we need to import from our serializer, which is employee serializer, and now we can create our class. Now here we can create our serializer class, like let's say it's employee view set, and here we can use view sets dot model view set. Now to create a view in Python, we have various ways to create. We can use the functional based view, class based view, mixin, custom, and there are other ways as well. And this is the one, like we can use model view set. So this creating a view with model view set is a recommended way, and which is the best and popular way. So we can use this, and the best thing is that it will create all the actions for like retrieving or creating or destroying or updating data. So it will provide all those actions automatically for us. Now here we can use first is a query set we can use, and for query set we can use our employee object dot objects, and we can call all on that. Next thing, we need to provide a serializer class, and in our case it's a employee serializer. That's it, and we can save it. Fine, we have created a view set successfully. Now next thing what we can do, we need to configure our URLs. Like first we need to configure our application specific URL. So we need to create urls.py, and here we can use import our django.urls, and we can import path and include from REST framework. We can use default router from here, like we can import default router, and from views we can import employee view set. first of all we need to create a router, and we are going to use a default router. Okay, so this is the default router, and we need to register our view set with the router. So for that reason we can use router dot register method we can use, and here we can add our endpoint which is employees in our case, and here we can name our view set which is employee view set, which we are going to register with this router which is a default router. Now next thing what we can do, we need to add URL patterns array. So this is the URL patterns array, and here we can include path, and for API slash, this is the API application path, and here we can include our router dot URLs. That's it, we can save it. So we have created our application specific URL, and we have registered our view set with the router, and for router we are going to use default router. That's it. Now similar way we need to configure our project specific URLs. So let us do that. Now what we have done, we have configured our application specific URL in our project specific URL. For that we have simply added this entry. Now we have successfully configured all the URLs. Now next thing what we can do, we can run our application. So let us do that. We can use python manage.py, and we can use run server. Now before we do that, let us cross check if you have saved everything. Okay, fine. You can see it has started the development server on this URL. Once we click on this URL, it will open this page. Now we need to use the path and endpoint. What is the path? Like we need to go to our API URL. So for that, here this is our API path, and inside this we are using employees as an endpoint. So the same uh, API is our first path, and its employees is our next one. Now it is showing the user interface, and this is the Django REST framework, and it has provided this user interface for us, like for this our Django applications. Now the list is showing empty because we have not added any entry as of now. So let us add one entry. Now we can add one entry. Let's say it's Sandeep, and department it's an let's say computer, and role is role we can say admin, and we can create one entry. Seems good. We can see it has added one entry successfully. Now let us add one more entry. Now let us add Peter, and for Peter it's an electronics department, and we can say role it's an member, and we can post it. Now we have two records. Let us check the list. Now we have two records. That means it is working fine. So if you want to go for a particular record like second record, so it will fetch the second record. We just need to pass the ID, and accordingly it will fetch. Now you can see it will be it will get populated with this entry, and it will show us the put button. Now if you want to change it, like let's say we want to modify it to David, and instead of electronics we can add maths, and instead of member we can use it's a user. We can modify, we can see the record is modified. Now if you want to check the list, like second record is modified as expected. Similar way, if you want to delete any record, like let's say let us add one more entry and one we can delete. Now we can add one Kevin, and here we can add department, let us say it's a chemistry, and role we can say student. Fine. Now we have three records. Now let us see. Let us go for third record, and we can see the delete button is there. Once we click on delete button, it will ask for the confirmation. Once we click on delete, the record will get deleted. Now let us check the list. Now we have only two records because third record we have just deleted. Now we have seen how this Django REST framework user interface is working for us, and how we can test it. We do not need to go to Postman for testing it, and it is an advantage of the Django REST framework as well. Now we have successfully created it. Now apart from that, we need to now in order to make a communication from our front end application to the backend application, we need to add some we need to install one package so that there will not be any course origin issue. So for that, what we can do, we can install one package like employee service, and here we can use, so first of all we need to go to virtual environment. So let us go, we can go to the virtual environment, so which is it here. Okay, fine. Now we can install one package just to resolve the course related issue. It may occur because we are going to get call from the front end application, which is React.js in our case. So this is Django course headers. So this package we need to install first. Okay, fine, the package is installed. Next thing, we need to add a few more steps. Like here we need to come at here, and we need to add in installed apps, like we can say course headers we need to add. Next thing, like here in the middleware we need to add one more entry, like here we can say course headers dot middleware, and we can say it's a course middleware. Okay, course middleware, that's it. Now this is the entry into middleware for course headers we have added successfully. Make sure you are not making any spelling mistake. Now next thing, we need to add it to enable the course, so we need to add one more entry, like we can use course allowed origins, and here we inside the array. Similar way, in our Spring framework we are adding cross origin, and inside that we are adding all the allowed origins. Similar way we are adding it here, and in our case, like we are going to add our front end URL, like which is http localhost, and our port like 5371 port of React.js or whatever we can check. And here if you want to, like say, if you want to allow all the origins, like there is option as well, we can go for course all allow, and here we can say origins, and here we can make it as a true. So this will allow all the origins. This will allow course for all the origins. So this is about how we can handle the course issue, because this is surely going to come whenever our front end application will try to connect with the backend application. Now let us create our front end application using React.js, and these are some steps we are going to follow in sequence. So this terminal is for our Python project. Similar way, we can open one new terminal for React.js application. Now here we can create our React.js application using command npm create. We can use vite at the latest, and we can give our application name. We can give employee underscore web. So here we can select React, next JavaScript, and we can see it has created the project folder in the left pane with all the default files and folders. Next thing what we can do, we can install the dependencies using this command npm install. Okay, so first of all we need to go to our project folder, and then we can execute that command npm install. Now we can use this npm install. So we can see this is the node modules in which it will have all the installed packages and all. And this is the package.json which will mention what all libraries we or dependencies we are using. Now we can see it has installed dependencies. Now we can run our application using command npm run dev. Now we can see our application is running fine. Seems good. Now next thing what we can do, we can clear everything from our existing files so that we can make a fresh start. So let me remove this part from app.jsx. This count is not needed as well. Unused import we can remove. Save it. Next thing, like we can remove everything from app.css file. We can remove this icon from for the React.js icon. Next, here we can give some meaningful title, like it's a full stack with React Python and MySQL. Seems good. Now let us create our main div at here. First, this is our main div, and here we can give some class name, like it is for employee, so we can give employee div, and here inside this we can add one h3 header, and we can add this header. Now we can see it is appearing on the left side screen. Next thing, like we can create one more div which is for add and edit panel, and we can give some class name. It's for add edit pn, or we can use panel. Seems good. Now after this we can create one input search. This is for search filter. We can use in search. Same we can use for id, and here we can give some class name. Input search, and here we can add some placeholder, like we can say search employee here. So this is a placeholder. Okay, fine. Now it seems good. Now let us add some CSS part for this. This is the main div. Next we have h3. After this we have add edit panel. Next to this we have input search. Now here we can add one by one. So we can add the width first. So width we can take 588 pixel. Height we can use fit content. Margin left we can take 77 pixel, and we can save it. Now for h3 we can add some color, and we can take this. Seems good. Now for add and edit panel we can add some border, like 1 pixel solid. Next we can add some width similar to 588 pixel. Next we can add width, let's say 60 pixel, and we can save it. No, it should be height, not width. It should be height. Seems good. Now we can add some background color. Fine. Or we can take this aqua. Seems good. Next thing, for input search we can use we can take width somewhere 211 pixel. Height we can mention 25 pixel. We can add border 1 pixel solid, and next we can add some border radius like 5 pixel. Seems good. We can add some margin top, let's say 525 pixel. Seems good. And next we can add some background color, and we can take this. Seems good. Fine. Next thing, what we can do now, let us add some input boxes for our properties, like name and our role and department, that part. So let us go back to our app.jsx. This is our add edit panel. Inside this we can create one more div, and we can say give class name add edit pn in pn div. It's a add edit panel div. Inside this we can add one label first, and we can give name. It is for name. Can say name. After this we can add one line break, and next we can create one input text. Here we can give for text like its a name, id name, and we can give some class name as an we can use class name. We can keep similar because that will get applied to all the three text boxes. Seems good. Now here we can add some CSS part for these two. So after this we can add for this div, we can add some margin left, let's say 5 pixel, and we can use the display which is inline block, and we can save it. Now here next, like similar way we can add for input which is inside this one. It's a pn input. What is the name? So we can copy it. Now here what we can do, we can remove this part and we can add border and border radius. And we can copy this part, and for width we can take 140 pixel. Seems good. We can add some background color for this one. Fine. Now this is for name. Similar way we need to add two more divs, like one for department. We can use this is for DEP for department. Seems good. Now we can add one more, and this is for, we can say, role. Seems good. Now let us add two buttons, like one for add, and here we can add class name add button. Similar way we can add another one which is for cancel, and here we can add cancel button. We can save it. Seems good. Now this is add and this is cancel. Now let us add some minimum CSS for this one. Now we can copy this part. Now we can take width as an 60 pixel, and here we can add font size. We can take 11 pixel. Next, line height we can take somewhere 15 pixel, and we can use some margin left, let's say 5 pixel, and we can save it. Seems good. Now let us add some background color. Fine. So this is for add. Similar way we can add for cancel as well. And for cancel, okay. We can use 57 somewhere and same for 57 width, and we can save it. Seems good. This is add and this is cancel. Now what next we can do? We can add. So let us add some color. Let's say font color, and here we can add font color. Sorry, this is the color. Fine. Now here we can change this color. Instead of green, this is for cancel, we can take something else. Or we can use red. Now this is bit dark, we can take some lighter color. Fine, seems good. So this is add and this is cancel. Now next thing what we can do, like we can create a table. So for that we can go to our app.jsx, and here after this cancel button, so let us, okay, after this div input search, this is the main div, and now here we can add our table part. So let us see. So this is the table, and we can add class name like our emp table. Inside this we have two main part, like one is a t head and other is a t body. Now inside t head, like we have our rows, here we are going to enter the header part. Similar way inside body we have rows, and inside this we are going to render the data in td. Fine. So this is the general structure of the table we used to follow. Now let us see, like as we are going to use the React table library, so we need to use that import for React table hooks and functions available, and we can create a table and create columns and populate it with data. So let us see that how we can do that. Let me first install the React table libraries. So we can install using npm install, and this is the React table library which we are going to use. And along with this we need to use axios library, because we are going to give a call to our backend APIs which we have written in Python. So those API we are going to call from the React.js, and to call those APIs we need this axios library installed in React.js. Fine. Now if you check the package.json, this is our package.json, and here you can check if the libraries are installed successfully or not. Seems good. Now let us keep our application running. So we have added this. Now let us do one thing here. This is the table part. Now let us add the import for this one, like we have import, and here we can use the hook like which is the use table, and we are going to take it, we are going to take it from React table. Next thing, we are going to import from React. So this is the star as React we can import, and similar way we can import for axios. So this is the axios. Now let us see how we can use this. Like first of all, we can create one constant for holding our employee related data. We can say employees, or EMPS we can say, or set like EMPS employees we can say, or you can give some meaningful name, like it should be employee, and we can say set employees, okay. EMPS is fine. Instead of using the big name, we can use this for now. And here we can use state, and we can initialize it with some empty array. Next thing, this is for, these should be EMPS employees, okay. Now next thing what we can do, like here uh, we need to use columns, and for that we can use react dot use memo, inside which we are going to use, like here we can initialize it, and here we are going to create the columns. Now this is our, now inside this we can first column we can use, like this is the emp id. Next for this we need to mention what is the accessor, and same we can use emp or id we can use as an accessor. So this is for one column header. Now similar way we can add few more columns. So we are going to render 4 columns. No, actually this id accessor okay. So we are going to render 4 different columns. This is for email, emp id, this is for name, and we can use name it here. This is for department, and here we can use the department as an accessor, and this is for role, and here we can use a role, and we can save it. Seems good. Now this is the column. Similar way we can define one constant for data, and this for this data we are going to use react.useMemo, and here we are going to, for data we are going to use emps, and we can initialize it with some array mtl. Fine, this is the data. Now we have emps to store employees data, we have columns, and we have data which will store the users data. Now next thing what we can do, like here next, like we can create one constant for table, and here we can use our hook which is a use table, inside which like we are going to use columns, and for data we are going to use like emps. Okay, so we have everything ready, like we have emps, columns, and data, and this is the table part. Now for the table, instead of using table, because it has lot many functionalities and hooks available, so instead of using the table, we can use the functions which we are going to use it from that. So this is the get table prop. Next, like get table body props. Next, we can use header groups. Like next, rows we can use, and we can use prepare row. So this much is enough for now. So if we need more functions, we can keep on adding. Fine. Now we can save it. Now let us see how we can render the headers and data part. So for that we can use these functions. Like this is the get table properties, and after this head, inside the head, so here we can use header groups dot map, and for each like header group we can say HD group, header group. So for each header group, what we are going to do, we are going to generate one row. So we can cut the row, and here we can add this row. Now for each row, we are going to use the hook, like this is the header group dot we can call get, sorry, we can call get header groups. So get header group props, and here we can use key, and for this, like we can use header group dot id. So this is the key. Now after this, like for each header group, we can call headers, and we can map on each header. Let's say for each column, what each column we can say this is for column, and for each column so for each column we are going to render the column. Okay, so what we are going to use, so this is the header part, and for each column we are going to render this header. Okay, so we can cut it and we can edit it here. Now for each header we need to add this is the column dot we can say uh, headers, and on this headers we can map now column dot headers we can say inside th. Okay, so we can call column dot get column properties, like header groups we can call this is the header groups, and for this we can use the key, and for this like we can use col.id, and we are going to actually render the header part at here. For that, what we can use column.render, and what we are going to render, it's a header, and the header is nothing but what we have mentioned it here. Like this is the header, and we can see these are all headers, so that will get displayed, and you can see it is getting displayed as such. Seems good. So far so good. Now what next we can do, let us see how we can render the data part as well. So here we need to write the exact table group properties like table hooks proper. So for t head we can use t body. Now we are going to use t body. Now here we can use get table body props. Now next, so we need to complete it here. This is the body. Now here we can use like rows dot map, and for each row we can use, so for each row we are going to render the row. For that first we need to prepare a row and we can use this row. Next we are going to return the row, and inside this return we can cut this row and we can add it inside this one. Okay, fine. Now for each tr row part we are going to use, there is a row related property like get row props we can use, and here we need to add some key which is like row.id, and here we can use for each row we are going to call cells, and on each cell we are going to map, like there is a cell and we are going to render the cell, and to render the cell like we are going to use, we are going to, where we are going to render the cell inside this td, and inside this td we are going to use like cell related property get cell props, and here we can add some key, let's say cell.id, seems good. And here we are going to actually render our, like we are going to render what on cell, what we are going to render, it's a cell. That's it, we can save it. Now we can see we are done with body part as well. So basically what we have done inside this, like to understand how we have written this, like this basically we have used this use table. Inside that we have mentioned what all properties of table we are going to use it here. Now next thing, inside table, at table level we are using the table level properties. Inside the header t head we are using the header groups, and for each tr of the header we are using the respective header group properties. Okay, and inside this we are iterating the header, and for each header, like this is the header, to render the header we are calling on column and we are using the render header. Okay, similar way for body part we are using the get table body props. We are like for each row we are iterating on, and we are preparing a row, and finally we are returning the row. And for returning a row we are calling the row specific properties, and this is the cell specific properties we are calling to render the cell. That's it about this table generation. Now you can see as of now the data is not showing. Why? Because we have not written any get API. So let us do that. So let us add get, let us say get employees, or we can use get employees, and here we can use, so here we are going to use axios to give a call, and here we need to mention the URL. Now what is the URL? We can copy this URL edit it here, and we are going to use API, and here we have employees as an URL. Next thing, like we can use then, and we can collect the response, and we can log it, and we can say res.data response.data, and similar way we can set employees. For employees we need to set this res.data, okay, so that it will get shown on the screen. Now as of now it is not showing any data. Why? Because we have not given any call to our get all employees. Now here we can give a call to get all employees. We can use effect at here, and we can give get all employees or get employees call at here, and we can initialize it with some dependency array. That's it, and we can save it. Now let us check for it here. Our backend application should be running. Now we can use API or employees. Now it is showing the data. API's employees. Same we are using employees. Seems good. So this is our table, and here how we are entering this one. This is the table and this is the data. Now let us copy this URL and let us check why it is not rendering the data. So let me go it here so we can open it. Let me inspect it. Okay, so it has been blocked by the course policy. Now our 5173 localhost. Let us check how we have defined our core policy in Python side. So this is our Python project. Now inside settings.py we have mentioned everything, like we have added course headers first. Seems good. Now after that this is the course middleware course header. After that we have added allowed fields, allowed origins. Okay, so here allowed origins we need to mention the exact our URL, so which is in our case like 5173. Same we need to mention 5173. Okay, we can save it. Now let us check how it goes. This is 5173 and the same we are using 5173. Now inside our app.jsx we can add slash it here and save it. Now we can see it is showing the data. The slash was missing. Okay, it is now showing the data. Seems good. Now our get API is working fine. Now let us add some small CSS to the table. Now this is our table. Yes, emp table is our table class name. Let us add some small CSS part for this one. Like first of all, we can add some margin top, and let's say 10 pixel. Next we can add width same as above. We can use height, which is a fit content. Next we can add border 1 pixel solid. We can use border collapse as collapse, and we can save it first. And now there is no text alignment, so let us do that. Text align as a center, and we can save it. Seems good. Now this is for table. Now let us do, we can add the header part for this, like we can add border and border radius. Border radius, this is not needed. We can add font size, and font size we can take 15 pixel. Next we can use line height, and for line height we can take 18 pixel. And for background color we can use some background color, like for this header part let us see how it looks. Seems good. Or else we can take the blue. Fine. Now for rows we can, for each, like we can say for each nth child for even row we can add some color, background color. Let us say we can use background color coral. We can save it. Seems good. Now let us see, here we can make some difference. Okay, fine. Now this is about the child for different colors. Now it seems good. Now let us do one thing here. We have get API is working fine. Now let us do one thing here. For each name department, whatever we enter it here, so that should, we need to store in some constant. For that, what we can do, we can define one constant. We can use const, and here we can use this is the emp. We can use emp data, and we can use set emp, like emp data we can use, and we can use state, and inside this we can use, first is the name, and for name we can use blank. For department we can again use initialize it with blank, and for role again we can initialize it with some blank. Fine. Now this is the emp data wherein all these values will get stored. So to store the values in that, we need to use the value it here. For like we have emp data dot name, So this will basically store the value. Now next thing, whenever we add something and change it accordingly, it should change the value. So for that reason we can use on change event, and we can use set changed value. This is the on change event, and we need to define this constant function. And here we can use set emp data, and for this what we can do, like we have emp data, we are going to set, and what next we are going to use e dot target dot name, and we are going to set with e dot target dot value. So basically it will capture the event, and for that event it will set the actual value to employee data. Seems good. Now after this, if you want to log the data and check, like we can print emp data and check, this is the emp data. Now this is for one we have added just for emp, so let us add this for others as well. This is for department, and similar way we can add it for role. Fine, and we can save it. Now let us check. We can add some entry. Let's say Kevin. Emp dot, it's for department, and this is the on change event. Okay, so here we can use same as this one, HTML for department, this is the ID, and we can save it. Okay, fine. Now let us check what we can do. So we can see emp data, it is showing as expected. Okay, fine. Now it is capturing the data. Now what we can do, once we click on add button, it should add the create the employee and post the employee. So we need to add that logic. So first of all we need to go to add button. This is the add button, and here we can use on click, and on click we can say this is for add edit employee. So we can use this add edit employee, and here we can define one constant for this function, and this is for addition, so we can use a sync, and here we can catch the event, and we can use event default and after this, we can copy this part. This is for get. Similar way we can add for post method, we can call post on this one, but as we are going to post it, we can use await with a sync, and here what we can do, what we are going to post, that we need to mention it here, and that is nothing but our here employee data we can use for post. Now So for post we do not need to actually set this employee, we can simply log the data and check. Fine. Now let us see how it works. Like here we can add one new entry. Let's see kevin@gmail.com, and for role we can use sorry, here for department we can choose, let's say, chemistry, and for role we can use, let's say, student, and we can add it. Now the data is getting added only after we refresh it. So let us add, we need to call this method, okay, get employees method, but we can use, because we need to clear these text boxes as well, so we can use clear all method, and inside that clear all we can give a call to our get all employees, which seems good. We can use constant clear all, and here we can add get employees. We can give a call to get employees. This will basically show the list of all employees once we add. And sorry, here we can use the bracket, this, not this bracket, this is the bracket, get all employees, and before it shows the employee we need to clear the text boxes. So for that reason we can copy this, and here we can set emp data, and here we can use this. Seems good. Now let us check. We can add one more entry. We can add Vaishali, and department, let's say computer, and we can use role, let's say manager, and we can add it. Seems good. Now we can see the entry is added without even refreshing the page. Fine. Now our post method is working fine. Now let us add some action buttons like edit and delete to the table. So let us do that. Okay, so now we are going to add the action buttons like edit and delete. So first of all we can go to this last column, last header, and here we can add one more header. So this is for edit, and here we can add one more id attribute. For id we can say it's for edit, and this is the accessor. And after this, like, we can add cell, and for cell we can use props, and for props, like, we are going to use one button, like this is the button, and we can use its edit button. For this we can give some class name, like, let's say, edit btn. Now this is for edit. Similar way we can add one more property, one more header or column, we can say action button. This is the delete, and here we can use same way, delete id, accessor delete, and here class name we can say delete button btn, and here we can use delete. Seems good. Now let us add some small css for this edit button and delete button. Now we can copy this part, border and border radius. We can use font size, let's say 11 pixel. We can use line height, let's say 12 pixel, or we can use 10 pixel as a font size. Seems good. Now next thing, we can use some width, let's say 50 pixel, and we can use some background color. For background color, we can take this one. Seems good. Now we can take, okay, and we can add some color. Fine. So this is for edit button. Similar way, we can add one more entry for delete button, and for delete button, we can take some, let's say red color. We can take. Seems good. Now we can take some lighter color. Let us take which other color we can take. Okay. Fine. Seems good. So this is the delete, and this is the edit button. Now it seems good. Now we have edit and delete button in place. Now let us go to our app.jsx. Here what we can do, on once we enter the entry, once we click on edit button, the record should get populated at this place. So let us add one on click functionality here. We can use on click, and we can say populate emp data, employee data. We can write one function for this one, and here we can use, okay, so just to populate the employee data, we need to use like here, and here we need to access the actual row. For that, we can use props dot cell. On cell we can access row, and on row we can use original, access the original, and we need to catch this row here. This is our where populate data. Here we can use, this is the emp data, and here inside this we can use set emp data. We are going to set the emp data with this employee which we have, which we get after we click on edit button. Okay, that's it. Now let us check. Seems good. Now it is working as expected. Now this is about we once we click on edit, this record is there. Now once we update this record, so once we click on edit button, this label should get changed. So let us work on that. So where is our add label? So there we need to change it. Okay, so this is the add label. So here we can use, let's say employee data dot id is there. That means the record is already there and we need to go for update, or else if id is not there, in that case we need to show the add button. Okay, seems good. Now it is showing the update button. Now once we click on update and the record is there, now once we update modify the record and click on update, it should, the record should get updated. So let us work on that part. So here is our add and edit employee. So this function we can will work for both the add and addition purpose. Now let us see here how we can make the condition, like if employee data dot id is there, in that case we should go for updation, or else if id is not there, that means it's a new record and we need to create or add a employee. Okay, now here adding a employee or creating employee code is already there, so we can add it here. Now for updation we need to check how we can modify this, like we can use either patch or put method for updation, and here we can use the backtick because we need to pass the employee id along with the employee data. This is the employee data dot id, and this is the modified data which we have received or we have updated. So this data will get updated against this id. That's it. What else do we need to set anything at here? Let us check. So that's it. Let us check how it works. Now let me take some record. Let's say this is the record. Now we are going to modify it. Instead of Sandeep, we can take Kiran, and the department, let's say physics, and here instead of admin we can say user, and we can update. Okay, API. Okay, so here for put method, this is the employee data.id. You call this error put, but URL doesn't end with a slash. Okay, here we need to add a slash. Now let us check. Seems good. Now we can see the record is updated successfully. Okay, similar way let us update one more record, like this is Kevin. Instead of Kevin we can say it's a Robert, and instead of chemistry we can use maths, and it's again like, let's say it's a user. Seems good. It is updated successfully. That means our update is working. Now let us focus on our next functionality, which is a delete. Now once we enter it something at here, and if you click on cancel, this text should get cancelled, and initially this button should be disabled. Okay, so for that reason what we can do, here we can go to cancel button. Now here we can define one constant like show cancel, which is like we can define use state as a initially, let's say it is a true show cancel, and here we can use at the place of our cancel button. This is the cancel, and we can use a disabled if initially it should be show cancel true means initially it's a false. Okay, so here we can use set show cancel. So initially it's false. Okay, now here this is like due to this color it is not showing. Now let us do one thing here. Uh, once we click on clear button, so it should clear everything. Now this is our clear part. On click cancel. On click we can say, we can call some function like handle. It's a cancel. Now for this one we can copy, and here we can add cancel functionality. This is the constant. You can use set employee data, and we can use the same so that it will get cleared. Now let us add something, and once we click on cancel button, handle cancel, it should get called. This is the on click handle cancel. Okay, so here we need to set it true because we have set it false. Like we need to call the set on click of handle update. So once we click on edit button, it should show the cancel as a true. Set show cancel as a true because the button is disabled due to this color it is not showing. Now let us check. Seems good. Now it is working because initially it is disabled one. Now once we click on the edit button it will get enabled, and because it's a brown color something, so it is not showing disabled, rather it is now working fine. Seems good. So this is what for handle cancel. Now next thing we can focus on our delete functionality. Let us work on that. Now here is our edit functionality. Similar way here is our delete. Okay, so we can check on this one. We can copy the same, and for on click, this much we need to copy. Seems good. Now here we can use handle delete. can save it. So this is the handle delete. Now let us add one function for handle delete. After this, here we can add one constant handle delete, and here we can use a sync because we are going to delete it, and we can copy this put functionality and add it here. Event is not needed. Now here instead of put we can change it, make it like it's a delete, and here to delete the record or employee we do not need to pass the data, and this is enough. Now we need to, because our list is changed, now we need to change the list like this is, and here we can use arrays dot data because our list is changed now, so we need to set it again. Okay, fine. Now we need to add one more thing, like we need to add constant for is confirmed, and we need to ask like whether you want to delete this. Are you sure? Okay, so this is the confirmation box. Once we click on OK button, then only it should delete. Okay, so for that we can add check the condition. If is confirmed, that means it has clicked on OK button, then only we are going to delete this. Okay, fine. So this is the delete functionality. Now we do not need to refresh the page. For that we can use window dot location dot reload function. Now let us check how it works. Now we have 4 records in place. Now let us go to browser and check how it works. Okay, fine. Now once we click on delete button, it is asking for confirmation. Once we click on OK, it should delete. Okay, so let us check why it is not. Okay, so here for delete, from here we are passing this row data. We need to capture this row at here, so for that we can use emp. Similar way we are using for populate this one. For edit we are capturing whatever we are passing from here. Similar way for delete we need to capture the emp data. So this is the emp, and on this emp we need to pass the id. Seems good. Now let us check. Now for this 5th record, which is Vaishali, once you click OK button, now we can see the record is deleted. Seems good. Now it is delete is working. So with this we have completed all our CRUD functionalities for along with table CSS part and all. Now next thing what we can do, we can focus on our searching, sorting and pagination part, and for that we are going to use hooks available in our React table library. So let us do that. First of all, we can use our use global filter searching part. We are going to search filter, we are going to achieve. Okay, now we can copy it. This is the hook available in the React table, we can make use of, and here we can use this, and here we can set the global filter. Now we need to define some constant, let's say constant like global filter, and we can use state, and here we can use this state. Okay, fine. Next thing what we can do, like here wherever this is the, once we enter any text, that time it should filter the data accordingly. So we need to check where is our that text, search text. So this is the input search. Now here what we can do, as a value we can use set we can use a global filter or blank. Now here once we change something, like here once we change, so accordingly the data will get changed. So what we can do here, we can use on change event, and for that we can use set global filter, and here we can mention like e dot target dot value we can use, so that once we change the text accordingly, it should show the filtered data. Seems good. Now this is the search filter. Now let us see how it works. Now here let us say we can add Kiran. Seems good, it is for Kiran. Show all the maths. Okay, fine. So this is all the users. Now let us change it to manager using update. Seems good. Now let me show all the users. Not it here. We can use search filter it here. Yes, it is showing all the users. Let us show Robert. Fine. The search filter is working fine. Now let us see show our sorting functionality, implement the sorting functionality. For that we can use like hook, like use sort by, and same hook we can use in our table, use table. After this we can use this use sort by. Next thing, we can go to our column where we are entering the column data. So this is the column data where we are entering, and here we can use like call dot we can use call dot get sort by toggle props. So this function we can use so that it should sort the data. Like let us check now. Now you can see it is getting sorted. This is for department and this is for role. Okay, now let us add one more record and we can check the sorting functionality. Now here we can add search in department, we can take something else, let's say chemistry, and here for role we can say it's a guest role. Seems good, fine. Now let us check the sorting. Seems good. Yes, it is searching is coming first for department and this is for role. So everything is working fine for sorting. Now let us focus on our pagination part. Sorting is working. For pagination we need to add more records. So let us add some few more records. Now here we can add, let's say Sujata, and here we can add department. Let's say it's an IT, and role we can say admin. Next we can add Deepak, department as an IT, and role we can say architect. Next we can add Smita, and department we can take IT, and role we can take something like developer. We can add one more like Shalaka, department IT, and role we can take developer. We are adding a few more records because for pagination we need to have number of records so that it will show us. Next we can use Pallavi and department IT. role we can take let's say developer, and here this much is enough. Now let us check how it works. Now here for pagination we can use pagination, and this hook we can use it here. Now next thing what we can do, wherever we are iterating the rows, so table generation, here we are iterating the rows. Okay, so instead of rows we need to use page because we are using the pagination now, and here instead of rows we can use page. Okay, now next thing what we can do here, we are going to show the pagination part. So after table, so we are going to use one div, and here we can give some class name like it's a page div, and inside this we are going to create a button. So this is the first button, and we can give page div button. It's a class name because this is same for all the 4 buttons which we are going to create. Now this is the first button, this is the previous button, and this is the next button, and this is the last button, and in between these two, previous and next, we can place one span wherein we are going to mention this is let's say it's a page count, so it's a page index, and page index of it's a page count, we can say. And we can edit it here. Now can add page count, and for page index we can add it here, and we can save it. Now we can see it is showing everything, like this is starting from 0. So actually page index we should start from the first because we are on the first page. Seems good. Page count it is showing 1. Now we have somewhere 10 or 11 records. Now here we can use some size, how many records we want to show per page. So for that what we can do here, we can use that it here, like initial size we need to set. Now this is our EMPS. After this we can use initial state, and we can use page size. We can say 4 records per page. Seems good. Now let's see. Now it is showing 4 records per page. Seems good. Now let us add some CSS part for all these buttons so that it should look good. Now this is the page view. So we can add some margin top, let's say 5 pixel, and we can add, so this is page view, and we need to add one page button add as well. And for that what we can set, like we can use border 1 pixel solid. Next we can use margin left, let's say 5 pixel, and we are going to use some font size, let's say 10 pixel, and we are going to use line height, let's say 12 pixel. Next we can use border radius, let's say 5 pixel, and width we can mention 45 pixel, and we can add some border background color. For background color we can take some background color. Let us check how it looks. Seems good. Now it is same. Okay, now here for this is one is closer to the button, so what we can do, we can use some class name like idx, and we can add it here. For idx dot idx we can add margin left, and we can mention only 5 pixel margin left. Seems good. Now it is showing. Now we have all the buttons in place. Now let us add some functionality so that it will be applicable. Now once we click on next button, it should show next 4 records. So let us work on that part. Now here we can, for next on click, sorry, here we can say on click, we can say next page. Similar way for previous button, it should show previous page. Now let us add these two parts at here. Now this is the previous page, and we can add next page, and we can save it. Now let us check how it works. Now once we click on next button, it is showing next page. Seems good. Now this is the last page. Now once we reach the last page, next and last button should get disabled. Similar way, once we reach on the first page, so like this previous, once we reach on first page, this first and previous button should get disabled. You can observe this page count is getting changed as we click on next button. Seems good. Now let us see how we can disable the buttons. Now this is the class. Now for first we can say disabled, and if there is a can previous page, if there is no previous page, it should disable. Similar way, it should disable for last button or first button or previous button, and for next, like it should disable if there is a no next page, and same for last button. And we can save it. Now we need to add these two entries at here. So this is next page, can previous page, and here it's a can next page. You can save it. Now you can see these two buttons are disabled, and once we click go reach the last button, last page, it is showing the last two as the disabled one. Seems good. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, we can add once we click on last button, it should take us to the last page, and once we click on first button, it should take us to the first page. So let us add that part. So here is our last entry. We can use go to page, and here we can use the same go to page. Now here this is the first button, sorry, we should add on click event, and we can say use go to page, and here we can use page first page, it should be the 0 count, and for the last page we can use like it's a page count, like last page count -1. Okay, fine. Now let us check how it works. Now once we click on last button, it is taking to the last page. Once we click on first button, it is taking us to the first page. Seems good. Everything is working as expected. So this is about pagination, all about pagination. So we have seen everything, like we have seen all the CRUD operations and searching, sorting, pagination as well. So I hope you must have enjoyed this. So I will request you to please do not forget to like, subscribe and share the same. So this is about all, like we have seen full stack with React, Python and MySQL. So do not forget to add the comments as well. So thank you so much for watching this.